Hello and welcome back to the channel. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you for being here. If you could make your attendance known with a little comment just to say, hi, I'm here, I watched your video, I liked it or I hated it, fuck you, I'd really appreciate it. It's always nice to know that there are real people watching this video and I'm here to engage. Secondly, if you could subscribe, that would be fantastic. I'm really trying to do something here. And just to know that people are appreciating it with a little subscribe, little like, it does mean a lot. So, without being too beggy, if you do enjoy this, just make it known somehow way possible. And thirdly, if you've got any Manchester City friends, family, somebody who's picked up the club because we're so good and so rich, that would be amazing. Somebody takes a little bit too much Man City content in. You know those ones, you're like, oh, come on mate, like I get it, you're good. That would be grand, because we're a little community here. We're a group of people who, you know, we want to talk about football, but, you know, everyone's like, oh, you're too good. Oh, where are you from? You're not from Manchester. That doesn't sound like a Manchester accent. Got him. You know, we're a little community here of people, and I'm just trying to have fun, trying to talk about the club I love. And if you love the club, or your friend loves the club, send it to them. They might like me, and I might like, oh, fuck. They might like me, and I might like them. Maybe. No guarantees. But yes, any Man City fans that don't know about this channel, let it be known to you that I intend to make more videos about Manchester City. I think someone's at the door. Thought I'd do a recap of the last week, what I've learned over the week. Just some key points, some key things that I thought were definitely worth mentioning, things that I'm excited about and things to kind of look forward to in the future. But we'll start off with Jeremy Doku. Here comes a player that I didn't really think too much about. Saw his numbers, did some research beforehand. I kind of came to the same outcome as everybody else. You know, a very exciting, dribbly winger, very direct anyway. Not much creativity, not much output, finishing anyway. So it'd take a bit of time for him to get used to Pep Guardiola's system. Maybe Pep Guardiola could mould him into a different kind of player. Similarly with Jack Grealish, obviously we saw Jack Grealish of last season was very different from the Jack Grealish we bought. So maybe Pep was going to tinker around with him for a season before we really saw what he was capable of. But no, he's hit the ground running. I think it's fair to say that pretty much all Man City fans are extremely happy with the purchase. Bit of a fan favourite already. As soon as he gets on the ball, everyone's on their feet. Everyone thinks something's going to happen. He's a player that just excites, and I was really surprised by this because, as I said before, didn't really pay too much attention to him, and the kind of general consensus was that he was going to be this player that we needed to give time to become entertaining, and he is just pure entertainment, absolute box office so far. I have zero complaints so far with the start of Jeremy Doku. I think there's the kind of player that we've been missing, the Leroy Sané, Sterling and Aguero. That kind of front three was just so exciting because how kind of direct that Sané and Sterling were, how quick they were, how it was just like, right, we're going to get to the goal as quick as possible and either shoot or pass. And I think Doku's got that about him. Obviously, we've seen the play slow down from the time that they left now, and Doku's really given us a different dynamic of the game, something that we haven't, as I said, about 3 times in the last 2 sentences, haven't seen for a long time at City. But what does this mean for Jack Grealish? Obviously I'm saying Grealish because Doku's had some great form down the left hand side. Grealish is just coming back from injury. I think it's quite convenient timing that Bernardo Silva's been injured, because it means that the right hand side, there's a bit more availability there if Grealish is to come back more immediately than we thought. I can genuinely see a Doku type player forcing Grealish out of the squad at times. So I don't really know how Pep Guardiola is going to manage this, because I didn't expect him to be such a good player so early on. So I didn't really think he'd have a problem with fitting players in or you know, rotation and how people are going to deal with minutes and how they'll feel about sharing minutes in different positions. And leading into positions on the left, sharing time, Sergio Gomez, I'm not too sure if I need to apologise to him or not, because for a while now I've completely written him off. I don't think he's good defensively. I was about to say good enough defensively. I don't think he's good defensively. We knew what we were going to get when we bought Sergio Gomez. It was a high attacking output fullback. So I think he had 11 assists in his previous 2 seasons. So it's 11 and 11, so 22 over those 2 years at Anderlecht before he joined. And so you'd expect him to provide a similar thing. And now watching him, I realised that he is more of a left winger or attacking output than he is a fullback itself. And I really hold it against him the game against Southampton last year, where he got absolutely skinned by Gineppo multiple times, took all of his confidence away. He was only sideways and backwards passing. Really unimpressed by him. Cost us the quadruple in my eyes. And Gineppo's off to Standard Liège beginning of this season, who are struggling. I think they're 12th in the Jupiler Pro League. So if he was struggling against Gineppo, against big competition, no offence to Gineppo, but against big competition, I do not want to see Sergio Gomez defending. People give him a lot of praise in the Sheffield United game. I was there again in person, and it was an easy performance for him. It was an easy game for him because he didn't have to defend. So he could shine in his attacking role, where he does shine. He is a good player. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but defensively, he is nowhere near good enough for City, let alone probably a top 6 team. Like, you can have attacking fullbacks, but if they can't defend, they're wingers, and they're subpar wingers. So I still think Sergio Gomez, I think I can give him a partial apology. I think you can play at City, but you're not going to play as a left back. Like, we signed Doku, we have Grealish, we now have him. I don't want to see him defensive role. We have Ake and Gvardiol for that. But it does add to that question of what happens to Grealish if Sergio Gomez is only going to be played in attacking positions. Because yes, you can start him on paper as a left back, but push him up higher and have like an Ake or Gvardiol filling that left side in a back three maybe. But it just becomes a bit too convoluted, a bit too crowded. So obviously there probably is an answer for where Sergio Gomez fits. Definitely within the squad. I think in the squad he's fine. He's nowhere near the first 11. But I wonder how Grealish is feeling about this. He's got 2 players now to kind of fight for minutes with, when he was by far and away the top dog for last season in that left-sided role. Yeah, the left side right now is at least strong. I'm very happy that it's strong. Competition is always good, and the kind of rankings are there. You know, you can see like Grealish should be top, then Doku, then Gomez. Competition is healthy, but we've thrived on quality over quantity. Another thing, Núñez got his start. I thought he was okay. I didn't really think too much of his performance. I think it's always hard coming into a side like City and impressing. I think if you look comfortable when you have your debut or your first start, I think that's good enough, or that's a very good sign. And Núñez did look comfortable. I do think that he will need to improve in those kind of final third areas, just outside the box, the kind of intricate passing. But we saw it with Rodri. Took him a little bit of time, and he's phenomenal at it now. I think we'll see it with Núñez. There's definitely promise there with progression of the ball. We already knew that anyway. Yeah, just if he improves that kind of outside of the box areas, kind of the where he did struggle a little bit in against Red Star Belgrade. Yeah, we've got a great player on our hands, and somebody who can easily cover for Kovacic or KDB, who will inevitably get injured multiple times throughout the season. So yeah, very happy with the Núñez signing. One thing I definitely learned this week is that we need John Stones. We need John Stones back very, very quickly. Last year, I think the reason we won the treble was on our defence. It was just so solid. The back two of Stones and Diaz were just impenetrable, and they were just so impressive in carrying the ball and bringing it forward. Obviously, we saw that new John Stones role that was incredible. It was just, I've never seen a defender play like that before and play so well like that before. Just mid-season, quick change up, and he was incredible. Definitely, if he's not like the defender of the season, I don't know what award, if it goes like centre back or defender of the year. If he's not the defender of the year from last year, I think all individual awards are a joke. He was by far the best centre back in the world, and best defender in the world, because you just don't get that from defenders ever. And to see it, and he won a treble, it's yeah, he's nuts. We need him back as soon as possible. We need the Stones and Diaz combination, because this season so far, the vulnerability on counter-attacks is back. We saw it against Belgrade. Diaz with a really poor offside trap. I think he's just not there himself. Obviously, when you've got every single game you're playing is a different back four, you need it just screams that there's going to be errors, that there's going to be vulnerability, and we have a big vulnerability on counter-attacks, always have done. And last season we seem to have stamped that out because of the fact we had the Stones and Diaz back two just solid. That was it, like no mucking about. When we had those two, everything was golden. He's been here for so long. He's been through the mud. He's been back. His mental is insane. He's probably the most kind of grounded footballer there is in a top team, because he joined us and was absolutely torn apart at the beginning of his career because of the fact he kept on losing the ball, and he always wanted to play the pass and he should just hoof it and all that sort. I remember the interview with Pep Guardiola where he said he's got the biggest balls he's ever seen, because he was trying to play the Pep Guardiola way. It wasn't quite working. He was learning and still progressing and still getting better at that. He finally got good at that, and now he's one of the best defenders in the world, if not the best defender in the world from last season. I'm not saying that purely on defensive. I mean, all-round play, there was no better defender than John Stones last season. So I'm saying it like there's an issue with any of these, to be honest. The Doku, Grealish, Gomez on the left situation, very easily solved by the fact that Bernardo Silva's injured. Doku goes back to the right. Grealish comes back into the fold through returning from injury, and everything's normal again. Bernardo Silva is very happy to rotate. Doku should be very happy to rotate, and Foden probably on that right hand side as well, happy to rotate. And two of those players can play left and right, so I think everything will be fine in those situations. Really, defensively, yes, right now we do look slightly more vulnerable than we did last season, but we know what the solution is: get John Stones back in. And saying that, we've won every single game so far this season apart from the Community Shield, so there's really nothing to complain about. So I'm probably making a bigger deal out of these issues than they actually are. But what we should really be concerned about is that run that we've got coming up. Very, very difficult fixtures in both Premier League and Champions League, and I can see already that the Liverpool, Tottenham and Arsenal are only really going to be the kind of challengers for the trophies this season, domestically anyway. Definitely more so Arsenal. I think Tottenham, we're still yet to see how they are against a big team, and that's not me knocking them, that's just saying we need to see it before we can believe it, that they are as good as they are against everyone. Liverpool have shown inconsistencies within their own games. Obviously, the Wolves game just gone is a perfect example of that, with the first half absolutely dominated by a Wolves team that couldn't hit a barn door. The Cunha miss is like in Rocket League when you've jumped and you just can't take it back, so you just have to float towards the goal. You've missed the ball, but you've just got fuck it, I have to deal with this anyway. That was ridiculous. In a game itself, you shouldn't have that kind of swing. Fair enough, you could say Jurgen Klopp got his team back together at half time and shook them about, and in the second half they were brilliant, but you can't have those first half performances against big teams and expect to be challenging for especially the Premier League. But you could probably do it in terms of cup games, so maybe we can see them win an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup this season, but they're definitely a challenger for one of those trophies. And let's not underestimate Leipzig in our group, because they started the season on fire. Fair enough, they're not top of the Bundesliga, but they've only lost one game, and yeah, I think they're a serious contender to push us, let's say. Maybe not to top, maybe that's a stretch, but maybe that's just the ego of being a Man City fan. They are definitely a team to look out for in European competition, because they've turned over Bayern already, so they've got it in them to do serious damage to big clubs. And Bayern are, second, third favourite for the Champions League, but just don't underestimate them. I think what we've done so far is immaculate. We've got some things we need to improve on. Overall, I think we're solid, we're sound, we're safe. Great start to the season, and just look for more of it. Look for more of it. Looking forward to more of it, because as I've said on countless things, we're so blessed right now in every department as a Man City fan. So just enjoy the ride. Don't complain about stupid stuff. Get off Twitter. That's a big thing. Get off Twitter, because the amount of rubbish I see, the amount of arguing I see, we don't need to argue about anything with anyone. Like, as a Man City fan right now, just enjoy it. Let everybody else squabble about, we did this, my player's better than your player. It doesn't matter for us. We're just floating above everyone, looking down at the peasants. That's a bit harsh. We're looking down at everyone on our little balcony, and we just laugh. Just get yourself a coffee, sit down, maybe read a book, because all we have to do is wait till the next game and enjoy it. We don't have to worry about anything. So yeah, that was my video, just on things I've learned this week, things I've kind of been considering, and yeah, all that yada yada yada. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. Just let me know you're here, because it's a little learning place, the comment section at the moment. And gonna do a bit more exercise, do a bit more weird wacky things with the old green screen. It's not behind me because I have to pack it away, because I'm an adult and I can't just have a big fun room for games. So yeah, I'll see you later.